With me now, North Dakota Democratic Senator Kent Conrad, chairman of the Budget Committee, a member of the Group of Six. Is that what we're calling the Gang of Six? A group of the six? How realistic is it that this super committee can work in identifying the kinds of controversial cuts that nobody has been willing to take on until now?
Well, it's certainly possible. I think it depends very much on who's appointed. And then I think it also depends on what is the atmosphere here in Washington. What kind of room, political room, is given to those negotiators to come up with the grand solution that involves entitlement reform and tax reform, so that we do not just the bare minimum required by this agreement, but do significantly more to really get our debt under control and get this country moving in the right direction.
And revenues are part of the mix, because there's been some disagreement of that, different interpretations, shall we say, from the House and Senate side.
Yes, we've had our lawyers go over this very carefully. The lawyers from the Office of Management and Budget, my own Budget Committee lawyers. It is really very clear that revenue can be part of any solution that the special committee develops.
But does it have to be? Is it revenue that is actually producing some more revenue for the country, or is it changing tax loopholes, let's say, in a neutral fashion, as some have suggested from the Republican House side?
I know that they think that that's what it's limited to. I think if they have some of their better lawyers look at it more carefully, they'll find that any revenue is possible. You could do it through tax reform. You could do it in other ways as well, but it's very clear with respect to closing of loopholes, other tax reform measures, that is included. But it's also clear to me that you could do this in other ways. For example, the alternative minimum tax, which, as you know, has to be repeatedly extended, the so-called AMT patch, to prevent tens of millions of middle-class people from being caught up in the alternative minimum tax. That's clearly not a tax increase to replace that lost revenue.
What about the prospect of the Bush tax cuts? Is that sort of a drop-dead solution if other things don't work, letting those expire or part of those expire?
Well, as you know, this committee is going to be reporting at about the same time that the Bush tax cuts expire. And so that could become part of an overall solution. Look, I've never found in the hundreds of hours of negotiation with Republican colleagues any willingness to consider that. What people are willing to consider is fundamental tax reform, because rejiggering the current tax code is probably not a very good strategy long term for the country. We really need to be about fundamental reform of our tax system, one that could improve the competitive position of the United States, but also generate some additional revenue so the spending cuts don't have to be as draconian as they otherwise would be.
But, Senator, I was here in 1986. That took a long time. You only have till Thanksgiving.
You know, that's exactly why I believe the work of the Group of Six and the work of the Fiscal Commission is going to be central to the work of this new committee, because, frankly, there is very little time to repeat what we did. And we spent, as you know, in the Fiscal Commission, in the Group of Six, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. They don't have that time.
And one of the great things that we learned last night on Brian Williams' special Dateline Inside Congress was the role of Dakota in all of this, the Bijan. Is he at your feet right now? Or do we know where the dog is? Let's ask that.
He's back in my office taking meetings that I can't be at because I'm here. And he's very thoughtful. He's, they turned him the 101st Senator last night, and I think he likes that designation.
Well, let's just say that perhaps he's doing a better job than some of his colleagues, but I won't say who. Thank you very much. As always, Mr. Chairman, thanks for joining us.
You bet. Good to be with you.